Humans have always touched silicon. Flint tools in ancient hands, glass made from sand, quartz shaped into amulets and crystal balls believed to hold clarity or spirit. And silicon does more than shape our tools. It is the skeleton of the earth itself. More than a quarter of Earth's crust is silicon, bound to oxygen in minerals: quartz, feldspar, mica, clay. I love tech. My master's degree is partly in computer science, and I worked in financial technology for 15 years. I thrive on understanding it and witnessing what it can do. But bit by bit, my faith has been eroded by the humans who make and control it. These are fortunes made on the back of human vulnerability and suffering. If you haven't read about how LLMs are trained not to show us child porn, you should know that they hire humans from developing countries to spend their days looking at images and training the models. That's not innovation or hard work. That's exploitation. No Friedman-esque mutual agreement of terms there. And if that sentence is confusing to you, stay tuned. I will be explaining. The list of offenses goes on and on. Surveillance, misinformation, lack of controls. And then there's the trillions of dollars being spent on achieving superintelligence and beyond. An event almost certain to have massive negative, if not fatal, impacts on humanity. The size of the power in the hands of a few people and companies is chilling. It's easy to feel powerless in comparison. And they call their valley Silicon Valley. I realized I didn't know very much about silicon. What is this element so important they named the whole valley after it? We have some strange split between nature and man-made, as if what we make isn't natural. I don't think of computers as from the earth. But silicon? Silicon is an element. It sits in group 14 of the periodic table, directly beneath carbon, sharing its 4 outer electrons, but forming bulkier, less flexible bonds. This position makes silicon abundant in Earth's crust and able to act as a semiconductor, i.e., it is balanced between metal and nonmetal, conductor and insulator. Its place encodes its paradox. A cousin of carbon that cannot live, yet carries the structures of life and technology. Humans have always touched silicon. Flint tools in ancient hands, glass made from sand, quartz shaped into amulets and crystal balls believed to hold clarity or spirit. And silicon does more than shape our tools. It is the skeleton of the earth itself. More than a quarter of Earth's crust is silicon, bound to oxygen in minerals: quartz, feldspar, mica, clay. It is in the rocks that hold us and in the soils that feed us. In the sea, diatoms and radiolarians weave shells of glass from dissolved silica. These fragile bodies give us up to half the world's oxygen supply. On land, grasses and grains draw silicon from the soil. Rice and bamboo, wheat and oats stand tall and strong because of it. When they return to the earth, they return silicon too, cycling strength and nourishment for what grows next. Silicon carries the structure of life through the rocks, soils, and shells built from its bonds with oxygen. 2 centuries ago, Berzelius separated silicon from oxygen and called it by its own name. Only in the last 70 years, under the pressure of war, did scientists at Bell Labs and pioneers like Gordon Teal learn to refine the silicon into crystals pure enough to carry current in just the right way. Now, this cousin of carbon carries our voices, our secrets, our dreams. Silicon cannot live, yet it holds the living. Conductivity refers to how easily a material lets electricity flow through it. Metals like copper have very high conductivity, so electrons move freely, while insulators like glass have almost none. Silicon is special because it's not too good and not too bad at carrying electricity. It's right in the middle, i.e., it's a semiconductor. Scientists can dope it by adding tiny amounts of other elements, which lets them control exactly when it carries electricity and when it doesn't. That's how it becomes the perfect on-off switch for computers, like billions of little light switches packed on a chip. But silicon is never only a technology. It has always been symbolic as well. Sand is time. Glass is the threshold that lets us see through while keeping us apart. A mirror is the glass turned back at us, showing not the beyond but ourselves. In alchemy, stones rich in silicon carried the dream of turning matter into meaning. In all these ways, silicon mediates between inside and outside, life and non-life, what we hope and what we fear. There is another truth. Silicon is not ours alone. It is not the possession of Silicon Valley or any human endeavor. It is the stone of the earth, carrying us as it always has. To hold a piece of quartz in the hand is to pray with the ground itself. To place it on an altar is to remember we are not in control. We are in relationship. The shaman knows this. The farmer knows this. The body knows this. As a culture, we have gone astray, thinking that when God said we had dominion over the land, it meant those with the most power could use it for whatever ends they choose. And that's the joke. The name Silicon Valley allows us to believe there is more silicon in Silicon Valley than right here on the ground from which I write, looking through glass at my garden. The technology industry just added one more chapter to a very old book of human silicon relations. From obsidian blades to iPhone chips, it's all the same element, endlessly repurposed and continually holding us. And so now I call it Rocks for Computing Valley. Nature includes great destruction. I'm thinking about uranium, fire. Nature is not by nature peaceful in the sense of avoiding destruction. Just because silicon is a rock from the earth doesn't mean it's safe. Just like uranium, silicon sits with us on the brink of our fate. And right now, silicon holds us. It carries the bones of the earth, the breath of the sea, the food of the field. It carries our machines, our messages, our dreams. It will be here long after us. We can hold it in our hands and pray. We can feel gratitude as we walk the earth. We can live out our connection to each other and the planet. And we can pray that all beings come to know this experience. As I walk barefoot in the grass or hop on Zoom holding my quartz in my hand beneath view of the camera, I can connect to silicon. It is just as much mine as anyone else's. It is just as much yours as anyone else's. Each of us held and holding the element in our own relationship with it. I pray that silicon will continue to hold us, that it will show more of its wisdom to us, and will partner with us for healing. Let's not forget that us humans went in search of an element that could hold us. Our computing, our minds, our dreams. We found silicon. We did not create it. It is more than our semiconductor, more than the glass in our windows. We are all subject to the availability of silicon and water and oxygen. The human tendency to misunderstand the bigger picture can be relied upon. Our incomplete understanding gives me hope. The apparent limitations of nature give me hope. What I'm doing? Holding my rose quartz in my hand with a little bit more intention. Feeling connection to this crystal that loves and conducts and allows us to see ourselves and through itself into the world. And alongside all the important actions in the human realm, I'm trusting that human wealth and power is not recognized by nature. And it doesn't like being destroyed or used to hurt its children. Join me in placing a crystal, stone, or glass piece somewhere meaningful today. Let's cultivate a relationship with silicon and support it in doing its work, holding the planet.